Hi, today I'm going to discuss about solution architecture in context to care management in healthcare environment. As we all know, whenever we are working on healthcare applications or whenever we are working on the healthcare domain, so care management is one of the key and important service when we are providing this to the patients. Either it can be care management or dealing with case management. So these are the two different services which are essentially important in context to the services we provide for the patients in the healthcare domain. In this regard, providing some solution for care management in context to the application development is one of the key and important element, especially when we are moving towards cloud environments, because nowadays the kind of solutions we are developing, the kind of applications we are developing, everything is from the cloud side. So hence, when we are trying to understand solutions, there are two cloud service providers we use. One is about AWS and second is Azure, right? So one of the major cloud service providers like IBM Cloud, Google Cloud, right? So there are different cloud service providers, but when it comes to the context of the solution which I am explaining to you, this is all something in regard to the cloud platform called Azure was taken into consideration because there are some data engineering practices wherein by implementing some Azure Data Factory, at the same time creating an Azure Data Lake, right? So these are all something which are essentially required for us when we are working on the care management, especially when we are understanding this. When we try to understand about the architectural perspective in context to the care management, where the care coordination and as well as collaboration to provide quality services for the patient-centric care is something essentially required in the field of healthcare. At the same time, when it comes to the security of the application or security of the data, then because healthcare information, whatever we maintain, everything is encrypted using by HIPAA rules and regulations and all, everything is encrypted in this regard. Generally, security considerations and then as well as providing an environmental access to the granted for every user, wherein for that we require to assign an extra built-in security roles and all everything to the users and all that. At the same time, whatever the owner teams are the kind of group teams which are able to access or operate in the application, wherein we need to understand basically a basic user, right? So whoever the basic user is, what something which we have to be accessed with. Right? So this normally, if we want to access this basic user information and all, wherein we use a Power Platform, especially when it comes to the Azure cloud services itself is concerned. Cloud platform is Power Platform is what something which normally we use it. At the same time, in context to the healthcare user or healthcare non-clinical users are itself is concerned, the kind of care plan templates, administrator roles, and all of the thing used by using different care plans we have. At the same time, to sync administrators and all that, wherein whatever the healthcare users like FHIR administrator, right? So administrator users and all. So for them, the kind of data integration, what is that are we going to do is essentially required in this. Now, when we are trying to understand about the user interface first, because being into multiple roles, especially in context to the application development for any solution we are going to develop, understanding the user interfaces or trying to understand the user interface is one of the key and prominent element which we have to be addressed with. So when we are developing any care management application as a solution I'm talking about, understanding the kind of interfaces which are interconnected with some end users, at the same time, the kind of model-driven applications which include built-in Power Apps, component frameworks. All these are essentially useful for us to control the configuration parameters, all that. In this regard, whenever we try to understand these from the built-in control perspective, the first perspective about unified patient view, this is what something which normally we need to understand, right? So unified patient view is what something which we need to have, right? So because what are the data we are going to maintain on that, right? Wherein we need to display all the patient data using different uh, CRM applications, because now and then we are using some Dynamics applications. Dynamics 365 is one of the application we are using, right? So CRM application widely we are using, right? So dynamic CRM application is what something we are using as far as the CRM process itself is concerned, wherein you can see over here. So dynamic 365 days in 365 CRM application is being used to review about the patient trends and all everything. At the same time, even not only this, even to have some patient insights wherein to inform about the kind of relevancy in context to the patients, at the same time, the kind of uh, records we need to maintain, right? So everything for that purpose, generally, even this 365 Dynamics 365 DSCRM application will be integrated in this. Along with this, when we want to have a design guidance in context to the application of user interfaces and all everything, where we need to develop some care management application, which majorly deals with different individuals or the users. Either it can be the care managers or it can be a physician, right? So all these people are uses this. Now, being into the role of a business analyst, especially, or from the development side, when we talk about, because this is all something understanding about the solution architecture of care management application we are building in the field of Azure, wherein we need to understand the business logic even. And behind that, we need to understand the business logic. So in this, to understand the business logic, one of the plugin of care management plugin, which normally we need to use. So when we are trying to understand about uh, care management plugin, wherein we need to create different plugins wherein to create a single relationship records to the care plan goals entities. At the same time, whatever the healthcare care management plugins which normally we are using, which creates multiple relation records to the care plan goals entities at the same time. The kind of relations which we are maintaining with care planning, everything will comes under the care management plugin point of view. Next, when it comes to the care management process workflows, because understanding the workflow structure and understanding the workflow process is also one of the key and important element. In regard to that, one need to understand about the kind of care we are going to provide in context to the care planning activities, what we are going to maintain in reference to the care coordination by implementing the CRM applications, all that stuff, wherein by creating multiple templates, right? So all these things are comes under this category. Next, at the same time, when it comes to the care management from the payer's point of view, whoever the payers, right? So payers, nothing but healthcare insurance companies, right? So or else it can be CMS, all that stuff, wherein to incorporate that or in to integrate with them and all. So even there are different healthcare APIs which we have to be connected with, different healthcare APIs wherein we need to connect using some dataverse, all that stuff, right? So to store the data. At the same time, whatever the logical implementation we want to do. So Azure integration services which we have to integrate with, because whatever the healthcare data we have taken, right? So especially, for example, employee data was taken, right? So or else if there is any clinical data of a particular patients were taken, all that stuff, right? So or else there may be some unstructured data which was already existed in the healthcare data using different smart FHIR and all everything, where we need to collaborate with the team, wherein by trying to understand creating some dashboard reports is something essentially required. So when we want to create any kind of dashboards in regard to the solution are we going to provide and all. So we use Power BI because Microsoft Power BI, because when we are working on Azure, Azure is Microsoft Azure, right? So Windows Azure, Microsoft Azure. Even Microsoft have Dynamics application, even for CRM, which can be used here. Even for data visualization purpose to create some dashboards and all, even we are using Power BI for team collaboration, even to interact with all the team members and all, we use Microsoft Teams, etc. Along with this, wherein if you want to ingest and as well as the transform the data, as I stated in the beginning of the session. So Azure Data Factory is got something which we need to use for the large scale of data, wherein the kind of workflows, as I stated sometime back, right? So whatever the kind of Azure Synapse data flows, everything where we need to store the data in the Azure data lake. This is what something which we have to be done with. At the same time, if you want to access any kind of data from the Microsoft Dynamics 365 application, this is where we want to receive the trends and all everything to the Azure data lake and all everything here. At the same time, the kind of templates which we want to interconnect with Microsoft applications, wherein we use Azure Synapse Analytics. This is where generally this is something used for us to analyze the data, wherein to have an understanding about Synapse database and all. So further, there are templates available. So different templates are being used to ensure this, right? So this is what something which we need to use. At the same time, last but not least, whenever, as I mentioned you, to store the data in Dataverse and all, the kind of healthcare API is what we are going to create by integrating with Azure logical apps, all that stuff. This is something essentially required for us to understand and manage the care coordination, because end of the day, care management and coordinating the care by having some insights, right? So about the patient insights, right? So all these things are required. So even the reason why when we are using Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, so we use even services, even customer service we will be use CRM. At the same time, sales also has to be used here so that we'll be knowing about the records and all everything well. So which majorly used by the persons, like it can be a care manager or physicians and all uses this application in this regard. So this is what something completely about solution architecture from the context of care management in the field of healthcare. When we are developing application, one should understand this is something useful for any uh, business analyst team, whoever is working as a business analyst. Those people are essentially required for us to have an understanding over these things. At the same time, even other profiles will also be required to have an understanding over all these. So this is all about the session today. The session video is all about. So if you have any questions, if you have any training as well as teaching needs in context to the Azure cloud services, or it can be Dynamics, or it can be Power BI in connect to the healthcare. Right. So if you have any questions, if you have any training as well as coaching needs, as you are a business analyst or maybe a new learner or any career transformation individuals or healthcare professionals, please reach out to the contact details, which will be posted in below to this video. Thank you.